I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time for my good friend Efree, one of my dearest friends in my life. Love you, man. Thank you for the request. And for those interested in requesting any other type of videos or topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, anything in between, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called Run, Hide, Fight. Now it says 2020, but I believe it came out this year, 2021. But for some reason, some places say 2020. I'll probably going to put 2021 because, from what I understand, it came out this year. So screw it. Now this film got a lot of controversy for two reasons. Number one, because of the subject matter, and number two, because of who released it. And they didn't make the film; they just distributed the film. Now, who distributed it was a place called the Daily Wire. Now, what is the Daily Wire? It's a company in which one of the founders was Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a political commentator. Listen, whatever you think about Ben Shapiro, whatever. They saw something in this film, were going to distribute it. And you know what? Again, they didn't make the film. I don't care who distributes it if it's a film I like. And it's a film I do like. It's not a perfect film. And that's my computer telling me, yay, conversion of the video is completed. Thank you. Can you shut up, computer, now, since I'm in the middle of talking? Maybe that was Ben Shapiro giving me a ring. But is that a 5 out of 5 star perfect movie? There's a few issues I have with it, but overall, I liked it. Yeah, so another 2021 film I liked, along with Willy's Wonderland. You know, two films I did like. And then I mentioned the subject matter. It's because the plot of the film is this girl, she's about 17 years old, played by Isabel May, who I thought did a really good job. I thought Isabel May was pretty damn solid in this. Her mom has recently passed away. She's having trouble dealing with it. She goes to hunt with her dad, played by Thomas Jane, from The Punisher, the 2004 Punisher film. She goes to school, and a van gets driven into there, and about 4 or so teens take control of the school. There's school shootings, and it becomes a bit of a Die Hard scenario, but not over the top. It's not like you don't have Isabel May jumping from the roof of the school while there's explosions, or helicopters, you know, blowing up as part of the roof and slamming through windows. It's nothing like that. I kind of wish it was that big and over the top, but it's not. And people got upset because, oh my god, it's a film dealing with school shootings, but it's not saying anything. I don't want it to say anything. You entertained? It's more of a thriller with little action elements. But yeah, I would call it more of a thriller. And you know what? It's well directed, as in the cinematography. Solid. The acting, pretty good. You got Treat Williams. Sadly, doesn't have much to do, but Treat Williams is the sheriff of this town. Nice to see him in there. Being a big fan of films like Deep Rising. Thomas Jane, he gets to do, couple things. Nice to see him in there. The kid who plays the villain, I thought he worked well with his natural dialect that he was showcasing, where he's being kind of a smarmy villain and cocky, but he was not a bad actor. I thought he did rather well. And I would say for the most part, these villains are definitely ones you just hate. And they give a lot of good reason to hate, where they're killing innocent people. But it's nothing gratuitous. It's not like you've seen heads explode and stomachs explode and limbs ripped apart and people getting cut up. No, it's people get shot. They moves on. So I don't know why people have such a bug up their ass, because apparently, yes, there have been school shootings. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There will be. Just like there will be plane crashes. There will be horrible events every fucking day. You gotta learn, or you're gonna be stuck in that bubble and you don't learn the hard way. But it happens. You can't fucking hide away. And you know what? You can use, it's just like, we can have action films with terrorism in it. We can have action films with all sorts of stuff. Guess what? We have plenty of films that have serial killers. Does that mean we better not do a film with a serial killer because, oh my god, look at Ted Bundy. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer. Look at, yeah, it was horrible what they did. But we still have movies with serial killers. Just like we have movies with all sorts of stuff. By the way, let me mention a couple films that these people, I just forget about. Toy Soldiers from the early 90s, starring Sean Astin. That was about a school that got taken over by terrorists. One of them played by Andrew Divoff, who will later be the star of the Wishmaster, at least the first two Wishmaster films. Demolition High, starring Corey Haim, the better Corey. Star Corey Haim, high school, bad guys, terrorists. Corey Haim's a high school student trying to take care of business. Grab more of a low budget, but, entertaining for what it is. Or how about in the 2000s, Masterminds? Remember Masterminds? That film wasn't that good. Patrick Stewart was the villain. That really did try to be like a PG-13 kind of kid-friendly version of Die Hard in a high school. Masterminds. Dolph Lundgren starred in a film called Detention, where he played a school teacher. And bad guys take over a school, and there's a group of kids in detention, and Dolph Lundgren's a teacher trying to help them out. Not a great film. Maybe, in retrospect, average. There's some decent moments. Dolph is good. It's not the best, but, average. Like one of those, I don't know, 2.5 out of 5 star movies. Like, it's alright, The Substitute movies, where teachers dealing with students, and there's violence, and a substitute teacher dealing with kids in school. Class of 1984, Class of 1999. I mean, there's plenty of films dealing with school, and it's entertainment, and doesn't have to make a fucking political statement like it's trying to be Dangerous Minds, which is a film no one remembers unless you remember the Coolio song, Gangsta's Paradise. I'm sorry, not every film is 187. A film that many people liked, I still get shit from people saying, you hate that movie, you suck. I'm like, yeah, I don't like 187 with Sam Jackson. Sorry. My opinion. But getting to this film, yes. It's a girl trying to take out bad guys. And again, it's more of a thriller than an action film. There's action elements, And that's fine to have. It's fine to make. And again, it doesn't do anything that's gratuitous or off the rails or uncomfortable. It's telling the story. And you know what? Again, the acting is solid, especially Isabel May. I thought she did a really good job showcasing toughness, but it wasn't a Rey from Star Wars perfect. She could do everything. No, she has flaws. She's not all right in the head. She sees her dead mom talking to her from time to time, so even she has a little bit of issues. And when she gets in the fights, things don't work out perfectly. She gets beaten up. She's fighting this girl amongst balloons and barely makes it out alive. She gets shot at hiding with locker doors trying to cover her. She's in a chem lab and she starts a little fire, but then the guy beats her up and throws her around. She has got to think of her wits to get out of this situation. But it's also a person trying to do the best they can and showing courage. Because, again, it's a day, it's prank day. You have this nice guy who asks her to the prom, but she's edgy, and again, she's not all there. So it gives her something to work with to overcome, mentally as well as physically. While she's in the bathroom, this van's driven to the school, and like harsh, where without a second thought, they'll shoot someone. So it makes the villains a bit more dangerous. I'm fine with that. I will say, I haven't been in school for a long time. I would imagine, though, that in any school, you would be able to hear a van drive through into the cafeteria and then gunfire. Maybe I'm just being silly with that, because most of the school, they don't know this is happening, and they didn't hear it. I'm like, would no one really hear the gunfire? And they fire. It's not like it's even silencers. It's like, I'm like, again, maybe I'm being wrong about that, but I thought that was a bit weird that the rest of the school didn't hear all the bullets flying around, let alone, crashing a van into the cafeteria. So I thought that was a bit weird, but with that said, I thought the villains, you really hate them. At one point, our lead is hiding, and there's this older woman. She doesn't give the girl away. Her cell phone accidentally goes off, and the bad guy's like, come out, and the older lady gets out, and then she doesn't give the person away. She says something to the guy, and the guy shoots her. Picks up her phone. Hey, what's going on? And this bad guy literally says, oh, I killed that thing of yours. Just nonchalant. Just such a shitty, dickhead, fucking asshole. You're just waiting to get the comeuppance. You really are. I do wish some of the comeuppance were more satisfying, to be fair. That's one disappointment I had with it. I wish the comeuppances were a lot more brutal. And there's some elements of the plot that I'm like, I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't mind the idea behind the film. The acting is solid. The lead girl was easy to root for. It kept my interest to see where it was going. It was nice to see the courage of this lady. She was able to leave. She could leave, but she goes back and tries to do the right thing, which is something to look at and go, yeah, that would be nice to be that kind of person. It's a flawed person. She doesn't, she's not perfect in fights, but it's like, hey, this is a person that chose to do the right thing, which is something that's not bad to look at when you're watching movies. And it's not someone that's got superpowers and is all perfect and shit. And she's getting people out. She's trying to think on her feet. And again, it was a movie that, I'm like, okay, this is my cup of tea. I could see myself enjoying this even more when I was a kid, but I still enjoy it enjoyed what I saw. Now, going to spoilers, are there issues I have with it? Sure. I think the pacing to be tightened a bit. I think about 10 minutes to be shaved off of it. When I mentioned the comeuppances, there's not many bad guys. There's only like 4 of them. And one, the girl is fighting this other girl in the, which I thought was a neat way the director had to set up, where it was all these balloons, or the high him on the balloons, and then one gets the gun to the villain lady's head and shoots her in the head. That was nice. But the other ones, one, she stops with a fire extinguisher, cuffs the guy, and then 5 minutes later he has a change of heart. And I didn't buy that. I'm like, no, really? You don't do this where the guy has a change of heart. And yeah, the girl does say stuff like, why are you doing this? And it's, oh, these guys embarrassed you. Well, you know what? These other guys, they didn't do anything to you. I get its intention, but I just couldn't help but go, I don't buy this guy changing allegiance, especially to the point where she literally gives him a gun. I'm like, I wouldn't trust this motherfucker. The motherfucker could be doing something called lying to you. I wouldn't give this motherfucker a gun. But he stands by his word that he's changed and tries to help out. Doesn't work out the best for him, but I just didn't buy that change. I like, that was really stretching it. That was really thin, at least to me. And then like the bigger guy, it's not really much of a fight in the chem lab. It's pretty much, she starts a fire, does a little bit of stuff, but then she has to stall for time, and that's when Thomas Jane shoots the guy in the head. And it's nice to give Thomas Jane something to do, but I guess I was really looking forward to, she's a hunter. She knows how to use a gun. She doesn't really use that a lot. Like, take a gun from a bad guy. I was hoping there was more bad guys, and she could take out more bad guys with her gun. But maybe, again, in a weird way, it sounds stupid to say, it tried to be a bit more subtle than even what critics give it credit to. Because it's not trying to be a big movie like that movie Masterminds back in the day, or even Demolition High, or Detention with Dolph Lundgren, and that stuff. I kind of do wish it was a bigger. I do wish it was the movie that these critics are making it seem like. Because they make it seem like it's this big die-hard type of film. It's really not. It's a much smaller movie than I think you would be led to believe. And that's what I mean. I wouldn't call this an action film. I would call it more of a thriller with a few action beats. But that's what I mean. I wish I didn't even, whether there was more bad guys for her to shoot, or a little bit more comeuppance on some. The main bad guy just gets a nice comeuppance. I'll say that at the very least. So it ends on a satisfying note. But it's just one of those things I'm watching. I'm going, okay. It has a lot of the right elements. It has a lot of nice moments. Like when the lead girl is talking to the guy, the lead bad guy, who's filming everything on the phone, and she has it now. It's like, you know what? You think they don't remember you? No. They don't remember me. Like, that was a nice, strong, like, fuck yeah moment for the lead lady. And it is a movie that does utilize her smarts and her wits, which, believe me, there are some bigger budget films that those, we'll talk about strong women, empowerment. Where are all these fucking critics that were talking shit about this movie, but they're praising about strong empowerment of women? Yeah, in Wonder Woman 84, which the same critics that shit on this film praised that film, and Wonder Woman raped a guy. She raped a guy, and Twice on Tuesday. But that's, yeah. But this one, which is true women empowerment. You want to talk about woman empowerment movie? This did it. I wrote it down so I don't forget certain ideas and details, and I don't have to check on a computer and waste people's time. But this is women empowerment done the right way, where it's women empowerment done through story, not trying to convince a message in your face. That, oh yeah, Donald Trump somehow being brought to the table because whatever the fuck, because they want to. It doesn't do that, which I appreciate. It's like, no, this is a movie about a strong woman, and it's done via a decent story, decent storytelling. Not perfect. I would give like a 3 or 3.5 out of 5 stars. Maybe 3.5, because it's a pretty decent flick. 3.5 out of 5 stars. I rather did like it. Again, there's some issues. Doesn't make it a 5 out of 4, but yeah, 3.5 is a fair rating. And like I said, there's nice moments like at the end where she shoots the guy, could put him out of his misery, but says fuck it, let him bleed to death. Which is probably what critics don't like, that kind of stuff. Oh, they don't like this kind of woman empowerment where it's a lady using her wits and her brain and not being a fucking idiot and not being a fucking rapist like Wonder Woman, or not being a fucking Mary Sue like Ray. But those are the films critics gave like high praises to. Rise of Skywalker, Wonder Woman 84. But this film where a woman is... I do wish she kicked a bit more ass, to be fair. But she does a little bit. And again, it's weird to call this a more realistic version of what you would see something in the 90s. Because I wouldn't call this realistic either. I would say it's more subtle in its action compared to, like I said, what other people... I think when people look at this, they think that the entire school is going to get blown up. There is an explosion. Well, technically, two. But I liked the guy who played her friend. He seemed like a really nice guy. Tree Williams, like I said, I liked seeing him, and Thomas Jane. Isabel May is a definite bid plus. She's definitely one of the better parts of the movie. And like I said, I keep harping on the acting because it's pretty damn good. And it has enough nice little moments that makes it a pretty decent, entertaining flick. And I applaud someone to be like having the balls and the guts to do this kind of movie. And I would say if you do watch the film, I didn't go in not expecting this big blow up action movie. Like maybe the trailer might make you seem as if it's going to be like Die Hard with teens. It's not. Again, it's more of like a thriller, hide and seek. Not a lot of villains to knock off. Again, there's like 4 of them or so. If you go in with that mentality, I think it's a pretty damn decent time. Not amazing, but it's a decent time. You know, I like the song at the end, the version they have of... Oh, I forgot what the hell the song was called now. Eve of Destruction. I like the version of that song. And like I said, the cinematography looked fine. Don't really have any issues. And it seemed like it was someone giving a nod to that throwback entertainment of yesteryear. Like, this is something you would see on a video shelf, you rent it. Wasn't a big budget movie. And believe me, there's a lot of films you like back in the day that were not big budget films. They weren't blockbuster movies. But yeah, wow, this was a decent time. Nice rental. You know, that seems like a throwback to that era. That's not too shabby in this day and age, so... yeah. I liked it. You know, not a bad film. Despite what the critics want to make you fucking think. Sure, it's probably the same critics that fucking say... I don't know, whatever. They can think what they want. I can think what I want. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.